Hey, how's it going everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about double flaring tubes for brake lines. Maybe you need a double flare brake line for your boat trailer, RV, maybe a dirt track car, whatever the case may be. You might run into a situation where you need to flare that specific copper tubing going to that wheel cylinder or what have you. Maybe it rusted through and it's no longer usable, but you don't have the money to afford the entire section of brake line that you need to replace, or you have enough brake line to where you can actually just cut out that bad section, reflare it, and then move about your business. So today we're going to talk about it, and we're going to show you the double tube flaring kit that I got from MATCO Tools. Part number is DFS260A. Take a look at some of the components, some of the benefits and features that this kit have that I haven't seen from the Harbor Freight kit. I'm not saying that there's not another kit out there that might have some of these benefits and features that you could also get from like Amazon, but we'll just show you what some features are that I like in this kit that you might want to look for when you're looking for a double tube flaring kit. Let's open it up and take a look. So in this kit, you can see we have a few different pieces here. We have our flaring clamp. It's beveled on one side where you can see that's what we're going to end up using to flare this piece of 3/16 brake line. And the other side is flat. And you can use both sides, but you can only use one side to create the double flare. And we'll talk about that. Another feature that it comes with that I haven't seen in the Harbor Freight kit, but you might be able to find in another kit, is the tubing cutter, file, and deburrer tool all in one. Pretty cool little feature there, and we'll show you how we're going to use that when we end up creating our double flare, or our attempt to create a double flare, because I haven't done it in a little while, so we'll just see how well it goes. You also got the yoke, which is actually the pressing portion of this tool that creates the flare, and then we have our double flare buttons. I call them buttons, they might be called something else, that we're going to use to try to set the depth of the tube itself and create that double flare. This covers 3/16, quarter inch, 5/16, 3/8, and up to 1/2 inch. The tubing cutter also goes up to, looks like 4 to 28 millimeter, or 1/8 of an inch up to 1 1/8 of an inch tubing cutter. So pretty cool little stuff. You also might need a tube bender. I don't recall where I got this from, but they're fairly easy to come across and find. I think I might have picked this one up from Harbor Freight. In case you run into a section of line that you just need to bend to get that 90-degree angle, you might want to get one of these. They might come in handy for you. Other than that, let's go ahead. We'll cut ourselves the old tip off of this piece of 3/16 tubing that I have, and we'll try to create a double flare. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to get my tubing cutter here. We are going to cut off this old flare that I have on it. We'll want to set that into the double rollers, and I'll show you that here. Give me 1 second. There are 2 rollers on this tool that hold the brake line in place for when you're getting ready to cut it. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. If you have enough brake line or a piece of brake line that's no longer in the vehicle, you can put it on the back side of this clamp where that flat portion is. Take your tubing cutter, go around and cut it off, and this will hold and secure the brake line in place for you while you're cutting that tube and getting ready to clean it up, deburr it, and things like that. But what if you're in a tricky situation where you don't have enough room to put the clamp in place to hold it for you? You can also use a pair of pliers. Now, you want to be careful when you're pinching the lines, of course, but you can put enough force behind it to where you're not going to damage the brake line, and you can still cut and get that section of tubing cut and removed as you want to. So I'm going to go around. It's going to get a little bit easier to turn. When it does, I'm just going to tighten it up a little bit more, and then I'm going to turn it again until it gets easier to turn, and then I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more and go around again. And I'll keep repeating this process until eventually we have removed the old flare from the piece of brake line. Just like so, and we're done. So now we end up having a not really the cleanest cut in the entire world, but we're going to help clean that up even more. Now, again, if you have a place to be able to use the flat side of the clamp, you can put this 3/16 line in like so, go around the edges, cleaning off any burrs, and deburr the inside. But again, if you're underneath the vehicle and it's a little bit more trickier to use that, you can just by hand hold on to that piece of tubing, go around the entire outside of the tube itself, removing any burrs that may have been caused by cutting it. This will help to create a clean flare when we get ready to flare. You'll take the deburring portion of the tool, insert it into the tube, and go around until you've deburred the inside. When you're happy with what it is that you've deburred and filed, we no longer need the cutting portion of this tool, so we can put that away. Now we'll get the 3/16 button that we need that fits inside the line. You can test it by inserting it, and as long as you have enough, a little bit of wiggle room, but it fits inside the line, that's the button that we're gonna need. But if you weren't sure, you can grab the next size up. This one's 1/4 inch. You can see it's just a little too big to actually put inside the tube, so we're gonna have to go with 3/16. We'll need our clamp, we'll need our yoke, and you can do this underneath the car, holding the, putting the clamp around it and just holding it in your hand. And in this situation, we're gonna actually use my vise just to kind of show you how the process is. But you can actually hold on to the clamp and do this process underneath the vehicle without having a vise in front of you. But I'm gonna bring the vise into play. It's gonna make it a little bit more photographically friendly for us to show you the process. So we'll move the bench over and we'll pull in the vise. All right, let me get it all set up here. So we're gonna wanna open up our vise a little bit. So that way, and we're gonna wanna make sure that we have the beveled side facing up. I almost had that facing the wrong direction there. We're gonna tighten up our vise to hold our clamp in place. Don't need to be overkill. We'll take our piece of tubing, we'll find the 3/16 slot, and we'll just lightly snug these up so it holds my line in place for the moment. So that way I can grab our button and our yoke. Alright, let me move this just a little bit more over here. Let me zoom in so you guys can see that a little bit better. And let me tilt this down. Alright, cool. So now I'll get the 3/16 button, and what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to try to push the tube up. Let me loosen it back up again. I'm going to push the tube up just until it's level with the top part of this button here. And that's going to set our depth for us. So that's pretty good right about there. So I'm going to start snugging this down now. Like I said, it's been a little while, so hopefully this comes out looking pretty good. We're going to put our button in place. We'll get our yoke and we'll open it up. Boom. Okay. Now you want to make sure that the clamp is locked into both sides, otherwise you're going to be at an angle. So we are locked in and we can start moving the yoke down. Now I'm going to begin to tighten this up and trying to create that double flare. Oh, I must not have these tightened enough. There we go. We are flushed up, so let me back it off. We'll take a look and see what the progress looks like here. Okay, that as far down as that button can go, and it has begun to flare. Now the second stage to this, we're going to want to come back over the top of this flare. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's beveled, but pretty close to flush with the clamp. It would have been nice if I would have got a little bit more out of it, but that's where it was happy. Now we're gonna take the yoke, put it back on the clamp. Wanna make sure that we're in our tube here. And now we're gonna begin the last stage of the double flare process. We're just gonna begin to flare it. That's pretty darn tight. So, loosen that back up. We'll go ahead and take the clamp loose. And take a look and see how it looks. Not bad. Not my best, but not bad. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's alright. Not the best flare in the entire world. A little bit out of practice, but with more practice, you'll get better and better at it. And hopefully one day you can make a nice factory double flare, because that was the factory end portion of this tube before we decided to try to make our own double flare, which didn't come out as good, but it still holds its purpose, holds the fast and run, and how we had this turned around, it would most definitely work. Alright, cool. Now that you guys got a chance to take a look at the MATCO double flaring kit, hopefully you can see some of the benefits as far as the tube cutter, file, and deburr tool that it comes with. The yoke and clamp you can find in the Harbor Freight kit, but I like the idea of having the tube cutter, deburr, and file all in one. Pretty nice little handy feature. There might be something out there that's relatively similar to this kit that you might be able to find on Amazon. That's all I got for this video, guys. Thanks as always for watching. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Hopefully your double flares come out a little bit better than mine. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.